course, she's the president, and I wanted to bring her on. Sorry for the delay. You know, Dr. Cabrera tends to go a little long.
No worries, no worries. Thank you.
Of course. So me and Bree wanted to bring you on, obviously, because you guys have stood up the new Department of Labor Pandemic Unemployment Assistance and
Processing Center.
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, if you could just walk us through. It's not open yet. Or is it
So
open yet?
GCC has provided the facility, but the operational side of it is actually a GDOL function.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. So just tell us a little bit about what went into you guys standing up this center, and it was a pretty rapid response, Mary.
Yeah, so basically we reached out to GDOL, and the director and I got together to determine if the facility that GCC had available would meet their needs. And so we took a tour of what was formerly Building 100, and we identified 10 classrooms that would be utilized for the processing center, in addition to 2 areas, the former student lounge, and then we had a workout area on the 2nd floor that were used or set up to be used for the actual call center. So in the call center, we set up 12 telephone lines for the 1st floor and additional 12 telephone lines for the 2nd floor. And we met with DPW and went through it to make sure that the tables and chairs that were needed were socially distanced or meet the social distance requirements. And so we did that. And then we had our IT guys, our MIS guys, come in. We identified about 80 computers that were in various labs on campus, and we deployed them into the processing center. So in addition to the telephone lines on the 1st and 2nd floor, so there's 24 laptops or 24 computers to support the call center. And then in the classroom, we also set up the tables and chairs and computers that are connected to the GCC network, so that they can have access to the GDOL processing site. So, and then we made coordination with Xerox. Xerox was able to provide us with 10 Xerox machines that were all networked to these computers so that they can be used to scan the documents that are necessary that they will retrieve. So that's basically what we did. It was just setting up the facility so that there's a location that GDOL can use for walk-in appointments. For appointments only. And so, that's basically our role, is providing the facility so that, they can, because, it was we weren't sure what time or when they were going to be able to roll this out, but we didn't want to use locating a facility as something that would deviate from the main purpose that they wanted to stand up, which was actually the processing component.
Has GDOL indicated when they would be ready to go in there and start running things?
So we do know that they are on campus. They have been on campus for this week. They've been doing some training, but as to when they'll open their doors for the actual first appointment, I have not confirmed that. I hope to get that confirmation sometime later today.
Okay, and is it going to be stood up there for the 18 months that's been indicated on some of these documents that I've seen?
No, ma'am. So what's basically the college is providing the facility through July 31st, because we anticipate that at some point we're going to be able to use that facility to conduct classes for post-secondary education. So like I said, because it was a facility that was available and probably easier to put together and stand up based on the resources that the college had, the tables, the chairs, the computers,
right.
It would have been easier for us to do that because we had the existing resources for the facility side. But it is till July 31st, so that gives the college a little bit of time to reprogram it back into classroom setting.
Mary, so we're anticipating, a huge influx of traffic to the GCC campus when they finally get this DOL processing center up and running. Is GCC going to be involved with maybe directing or in other ways helping out with Because it's going to be a ton of people.
Yeah, so basically GDOL has identified, I believe they are using folks from the, because we met with Chief Ignacio, so folks from the police department and potentially the National Guard to help facilitate the flow of the traffic. It is a by appointment only facility, so they are set up to do temperature monitoring into the campus. The college personnel will not necessarily be are not assigned to do that work, except for any IT support that will be needed by our MIS folks.
I heard there was a training yesterday.
They have been conducting training in that facility since all week. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, let's move on to how GCC is preparing for reopening. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, sure. So the college has been, or we have a draft document of the different guidelines that we will be using to reopen the campus. Mm-hmm. I did receive the first draft of it last night. It's about 90 pages long that has it actually has photos of different classrooms, different kinds of classrooms and labs that we have on campus, identifying how social distancing is going to work for certain types of trade classes and lectures, and then we have already procured, we call them sneeze guards. They are the plexiglass. We have procured and have installed already the plexiglass in certain areas of the campus. So, for example, like the admissions and registration office has one. We have a mobile one that can be used for the test center, and then we have some in the learning resource center as well. And then in various offices on campus that have direct contact with the public or students, including accounts receivable, financial aid, and of course our cashier. So we've already procured those are already in place. We've also started to identify, and again, in the plan, we do follow the CDC guidelines. This plan will be presented to public health for their approval, and hopefully we'll be able to start some courses in the fall. Nice. We also have a project where, or one of the concepts we have is that if we have a classroom, for example, that we normally fit 20 students, we are looking at a possibility of using 2 classrooms with technology capabilities so that we can have 10 students in one, 10 students in the other. We call them our twin classrooms, so that we have one faculty member with students in both classrooms. So those are different ideas that we're using.
Mary, let me cut in here real quick. We're KUAM-FM, Agatnia, Guam. Again, it's the KUAM News takeover of Guam's favorite I-94. We call it Containing COVID, and it's all proudly brought to you by Coast 360, the Bank of Guam, IT&E, Ambrose Inc., and Calvo Enterprises. On the line now, we have the president of the Guam Community College, Dr. Mary Okada, and she's talking about how GCC is anticipating resuming classes in the fall, and we're currently discussing some of the mitigation measures to prevent the risk and spread of COVID-19 that the campus is instituting. And also, Mary, we heard that you had a 19th consecutive clean audit.
Yes, and that's something that the college is very proud of.
Hey, well,
thank you.
You should do like a seminar or something.
Right.
Well, we really, we've had opportunities to improve our systems throughout the years. And one of the things I will say is that in the efforts for us to take advantage of the technologies available, the college has completely moved to the cloud. And so we did a large investment on that, moving the cloud, because of the, whenever we have power interruptions or typhoons or anything of the sort, it was getting very difficult for us to turn off the system that we had with all the servers and then get it activated back up. So having it in the cloud makes us have accessibility to the information, the data that we need. Over the years, we've continuously trained our employees on the different practices associated with procurement, and so that we remain in compliance with all the federal rules and regulations associated with procuring goods and services for the government of Guam or for the college. And so we've continuously done training on that, and we had a really great vice president of finance, Carmen Santos, who unexpectedly passed away about a month ago. And she had been with the college for about 12 years, and she really was instrumental in maintaining our low-risk status for the college, keeping in mind fiscal discipline, stability, and, of course, accountability and transparency. So it's something that we've been very proud of for many years, and we will continue to uphold that status to the, we want to uphold that status, of course.
Mary, I know that you're
forward.
anticipating resuming the classes in the fall. What are you seeing from the student population, and what ways have you guys been able to keep in touch with the people who go to GCC?
So at the, right when we went into what you call lockdown, or when the campus was closed, we immediately moved as many classes as we could to online learning. Of course, there are some courses like automotive, electronics. There are some courses that are not necessarily something you can just, move online. And so there is going to be, we do have to complete some of those students because those courses are not finished yet. There have been a lot of interaction between students about online learning. We're hoping to provide some training to students, and we're also doing a survey to identify if students have certain limitations in terms of online. So do they not have computers at home, or do they not have connectivity at home? And so we're hoping to help facilitate that, because the college, although we did disperse the CARES Act Part 1 funding, there is a CARES Act Part 2 funding that students may be eligible to support, or to additionally support technology needs for the continuation of online classes. So we're working through that process now. One idea that we have is to purchase computers that students can actually loan or borrow from the college so that they can continue their courses online. And so we'll gradually continue to move more courses online, but we are hoping for some continue to do face-to-face for some students, because online is not something that everybody wants to do,
right?
And it takes time to migrate to it. So we want to make sure that the students that want to come to the college that are, not too favorable using the online platform, that we're able to provide them an alternative with face-to-face.
What about the culinary program? That's one of the classes. I don't know if you could put that on a Zoom.
Well, you can do certain courses on it. I mean, you can show the preparation side of it, but it's very difficult because you got to do the taste test, right?
Right.
So, and normally we have celebrities like yourselves that come into the campus on the day that they're taking their exams or their showcase, and so the taste test is something that you can't do online. But of course, there is an opportunity for us to provide those, electronically on the process, just not the,
But Mary, online isn't the same thing. So if you did need someone to come in and do that, because it's just really not the same. I would be willing to assume that risk.
Okay. Assuming we get the clearance.
Do it for my island, just the kind of guy I am.
Yes, thank you so much.
Right on, Mary. So,
Mary, I wanted to get just some additional information and some clarification on what you mentioned earlier regarding the 90-page plan that you received. And I just wanted to know if this was a plan from your team, or if this was a plan from the Physicians Advisory Group or Public Health.
So this is a plan that has, this is the initial draft plan right now. It's just draft. I just received it last night. It's the initial plan compiled by the GCC team that will eventually be reviewed and approved. There is a lot of reference to the CDC guidelines, and like I said, there's a lot of pictures associated with the different types of classrooms we have and how we would be able to reconfigure the classroom so that social distancing remains in effect. So it's a document that has been compiled by the GCC team.
And so how soon are you, is there like a deadline for you that you'd like to see this plan approved so that you guys can begin implementing what's in it?
So it is my hope that so there's several things that we could have going through the summer if we were given some leeway in terms of or the authorization to get some programs up.
Mm-hmm.
We do have a couple of boot camps that we'd like to get started through the summer. So this, like I said, this is the first draft of it. We're hoping that we would get closest to a final product maybe in the next week or so.
Mm-hmm.
The sooner the better, so that we can submit it for approval. This document really is going to be the guideline that we provide to all the employees at the college so that they can review what to do in the event of certain issues. How do we safeguard our students? How do we safeguard our employees? What do we provide to them to ensure that they have the PPEs, if you will, on, to be comfortable that the college is a safe environment even through this pandemic.
Okay. I was just curious, we had spoken with John Fernandez earlier this week regarding I think it was $43 million that they received from USDOL, and a portion of the grant funding was also going to the governor's office for them to use for educational purposes. Is GCC going to be, I guess, a recipient of any of those funds?
So there is an effort for both higher education institutions in conjunction with the Guam Department of Education to receive some of those funds. We are still working through obtaining some information to be provided to the Lieutenant Governor's office. So as I mentioned earlier, the college's intent is to identify whether or not we can provide laptops to students so that they can use for their online education. And so we're hoping that the funding available can help support the connectivity side, whether it be because right now the GCC students are charged the technology fee and they access through the GCC network. But if students are going to continue to do online, if they can't come to the campus, then they need some type of connectivity. So we're hoping that there's going to be some funding to support that connectivity or to support the college in terms of providing the connectivity to the student.
Right.
Because there's not enough money in my CARES funding to do both connectivity and the equipment.
Right.
So, yeah.
All right, Mary. Well, thanks. And as we get closer to the starting of classes, if there's anything you want to come on and discuss GCC wise, shoot us a text or John have John get a hold of us and we'll put you on.
Sure. Thank you so much for
Thank
giving
you.
me the opportunity to provide some information on the college.
And just to clarify, the offer still stands. If you need to send someone in to absorb the risk of tasting the food at the Culinary Academy, either we do that, me and you, or I could just go ahead and, with your blessing, contact the chef.
All right, not a problem. We'll keep you in mind. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Mary. Wash your hands.
Have a great day.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, 8:12. Hey, we're going to take a break, come back and do our anthems and do the news. A day's dive into the COVID-19 headlines. Of course, that was Dr. Mary Okada from...
She's done a lot over at GCC,
right,
especially with the LEED certified buildings. That campus is beautiful.
Yeah.